There you have it in a nutshell. I'm not active anymore, but the younger generation of president, vice president, steering committee, they're doing great work trying to promote more diversity in the genre and recognizing libraries and booksellers with cash grants. It's just been really impressive to me what the younger people are doing. God, I hate being old. That's you young ones here doing such a great job.
Well, we are proud members of our Sisters in Crime group. Can you tell our listeners your website so that we can find your books if they live under a rock?
Absolutely. It's Sara Paretsky, one word.com, SaraParetsky.com. You can also follow me on Facebook, Sara Paretsky Writer, and on Twitter and even Instagram, although I confess I'm an okay boomer. I can't quite figure out Instagram, so I don't post there often.
Are you working on any new books?
I was gone a big chunk of February at a conference in Scotland and then spent some time in Spain. I don't know why I was so lucky that I did not get infected with the coronavirus. As we can see from the news reports, it was already in airports, in airplanes, in Spain, in Scotland, in the US, but I was very fortunate. Anyway, I had started work on a new book, but it really doesn't feel right to me right now, and it's very hard for me to sort out exactly what to write or how to write it. Nothing is really happening there right at the moment, but I know that something has to happen, so I'll figure something out, but I don't know what.
Well, we'll look forward to it, whatever it is. I'm sure VI will get on the case and take care of business.
I hope so. Gosh, I don't know what she'll do. Will she go around with a mask whacking people over the head?
She could cough on them. Well, Sara, I thank you so much for joining us. We are all such big fans of your books. We just look forward every time there's a new one. We argue over who's going to read it first so that we can discuss it.
Incredibly generous of you.
Well, Sara, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy getting out at least a little bit.
I know, yeah. We can't go over to the lake, and I understand it. My dog and I, we stand there behind the barricades separating us from the lake paths, and I think, a $500 fine versus getting to the lake.
Yeah. Is it worth it?
Right.
Of course, the dog says yes.
And when it gets up to be 98 degrees in Chicago in July, I think the answer will be definitely yes.
Definitely. Well, Sara, thank you again. Stay safe, stay healthy. All the best to you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, take it easy.
I really like this book. I always look forward to V.I. Warshawski's next adventure when they come out. This one is very well done. She gets involved with a folk singer, songwriter who is down on her luck and living on the streets. There is a character called Coop who is very protective of her, is trying to keep everyone away from her. V.I. has to travel cross country to find the answer for this book. It was well done. I recommend it highly.
Well, I have very fond memories of reading VI back in the day. I had just graduated high school and had already delved into mysteries like Agatha Christie. So here comes this character that can solve crime but also kick some major butt. It was a welcome change, and I definitely still enjoyed the Agatha Christie's, but it was a nice little kick every once in a while to get to read about a woman who could just do it.
Well, it was also things that were happening now. It wasn't in the 20s like when Agatha Christie wrote her books, that they were all in the Edwardian age, and things were much different back then. The one thing I like about her books is V.I. doesn't say she's sorry. She goes for it. She doesn't always win, but she gives it a shot. And that's more than you can ask of anybody. We thank Sara for joining us, and we look forward to all her books. Next, we would like to introduce one of our favorite people, Liz Decker. She is our local independent book dealer. And we asked her to come on and talk about how this coronavirus has affected her business and what people can do to help. We would like to welcome Liz Decker to the program. She is the owner of Caprichos Books in Bel Air, Maryland. Welcome, Liz.
Hello. Liz, could you tell everybody a little bit about how you got started and where the name Caprichos Books comes from?
Yeah, absolutely. We are a small incubator space. I'm an Air Force brat, so I grew up moving all over. My husband is from the area, but we both had this idea that we really love the Main Street cozy feeling. We have a Main Street downtown, but we felt like it was kind of missing something. We realized that was a bookstore. We were actually in Disney World, and we were in the Beauty and the Beast, just kind of feeling and thinking about books, and it's a passion that we both have. I'm also extremely passionate about recycling, so we knew we wanted it to be a used bookstore. I just find that books get really easily tossed aside when I think that there's so many people who would really benefit from having a book. I really wanted it to be a used bookstore, and that's how we opened, but it's really, really flourished into a community. I say that so often that yes, we started as a bookstore, but the community has asked for new books, so we've expanded to that. We have sidelines, all from local artists. Sidelines in the bookstore industry are things like your bookmarks, your pins, your buttons, artwork that we have. It's all literary themed, but also by local artists, because I felt that it was very important that if I'm telling people to shop locally and support a local independent store, that we were doing the same at every level. The name Caprichos comes from a book by Ellen Raskin, who also wrote The Westing Game, and the book is called Figs and Phantoms. Caprichos in this book is an idea of heaven that is like an island. So you go to it when you pass on, and it's kind of whatever you want it to be. And in this case, it was a bookstore for this particular character. Spoiler alert, kind of, but not really. So many people, when we opened, said, oh, it's my dream, it's my dream. And I just love being that place for people. It's an escape. Not just the bookstore, but even books in general are a whole world and treasure there for everyone. I kind of casually mentioned it to my husband, and he was like, yes, that has to be the name. He really loved it from the beginning. People struggle with it a little bit, kind of all over the place. I always tell people you can pronounce Caprichos however you want, as long as you remember that there's a bookstore and that you come to the bookstore and shop.
Can you tell us a little bit about the incubator store program?
Incubator space in our town, the way that it works is essentially it's a place for businesses to start and see how they grow. The idea is that you have about 3 years to settle into your business and see if the routine or your hours, adjust all those things, your inventory. Again, we've changed a lot in the year and a half that we've been open. See what works for your family and make sure that it's something that you can be committed to. And then eventually the idea is that you move in to another place downtown. You find another place to rent. The town is our landlords where we are. Our rent is reduced because, again, it's trying to get us started. And the idea is, again, that we grow into another place downtown. We're always keeping our eye out for any location just because I know that I can fill up a bigger space.
Oh, yes, definitely.
You could fill up a large.
I would say we're about 900 square feet. I'm assuming you have listeners all over, but we're in the state of Maryland, and our governor just announced that we can open, and I definitely can't open because I have stuff everywhere. Because I've really adapted to having business and running my business during this time. That means that my store is a wreck because I've just thrown stuff everywhere.
I can just imagine. So I'm sure you are in contact with other independent booksellers. I'm curious if you have heard from them or from your idea yourself of what can listeners do to help independent bookstores?
Oh, that's fantastic. Such a great question. Right now, the thing that you can do year-round, anytime at all that you want, is donate to BINC. That's BINC. And they are an amazing, amazing resource for booksellers and bookstores. And they support us year-round for anything. It is amazing charity. For example, tornadoes have happened in the Midwest. Stores have had to be closed. Individual booksellers have had cancer, have had to have surgeries, and they take the donations and they distribute some of that money, giving grants to help those booksellers and bookstores at different levels. So they're an amazing resource that I highly recommend to people. But also right now, there is a great event going on social media, and it's Read Indies Forward, I believe it's called. #Read Indies Forward. The idea is that you buy a book or multiple books from your local bookseller. And if you don't have a local bookseller, you support an independent bookseller by either ordering online through their website or reaching out directly and ordering from them. And then you post it on social media, #ReadIndiesForward. So you share that message with your friends and family. Show that you are not supporting Bezos.
Yes, definitely.
We like to call it the Big River or the Evil River. There's lots of other names that we skirt around. And I decided today, I won't even say it. I'll just say Bezos, because really that's where your money's going right now. Basically directly to him. So that's who you're supporting when you do that. It's not necessarily anybody else.
What are some of the things that you've done during this quarantine to keep your name out there?
You guys come up with the best questions. It's interesting. I know a lot of people were applying for grants, and I tried to stay away from that because I know that I'm extremely fortunate that I am an incubator. So I know that I've had a lot of advantages already, and I tried to really just make sure that I kept my name out there. I like to think that I have a pretty good social media presence because I let people know how it is. It's pretty real. It's just me. I say we a lot, and I jokingly say that that's the royal we, because my family's supportive, but they're not actually physically doing the labor. So
it's you and the dog.
Yeah, exactly. And we've got 2 dogs. We've got a pandemic puppy who joined us. Both the dogs are at the store today, so it's pretty funny. But yes, it's me and the dog doing deliveries. The main thing that I've done is just make sure that customers know that I can help them as long as they're patient with me, because it is just me, and I've had to adapt a lot in that we have adopted a pandemic puppy, but also adopted new ways of working. Kind of overhauled my website a little bit, and I'm trying to figure out how to list things that I have in store, because again, we were a used bookstore, so I can't just pull new inventory. We have a much broader inventory than a new only store has. New stores tend to carry multiple copies of the hottest, newest items. As a used store, I've got 1 copy of thousands of books, for example. I've changed that a little bit in that trying to take the time to make sure that I get the things online. I have not gotten very far, but I've still managed to get quite a few and make that ordering process easy and smooth for people. I was doing deliveries. Our newest thing, like I said, is that we kind of have a countertop at our front door. I borrowed this from another store, and I'm going to have a bell outside. That's just because, again, our governor just allowed us to open, but I don't really want people in the store just yet. I'm not ready for that. Like I said, I'm trying to keep it real. An example of that is the birds that we had in the store today. So I propped open the door and put the table in front of it to kind of test to see how that would work. And I actually already had a customer today. He didn't call ahead of time. He just came up and he said, I'd like to order these books. He was really patient and it was wonderful. But unfortunately, since the door was propped open, we had 2 birds fly in the store. So I actually went live on Facebook when they came in the store and I showed people, I'm like, okay, I'm trying to get things done, but this is why I'm not getting anything done today.
I like how you referred to yourself as Snow White.
Yes,
You needed to start to sing and put your finger out, maybe.
So I don't know if the bird would have flown into the glass more if I tried to sing, or maybe it would have left because it would have been like, she's terrible. It was definitely interesting trying to get the birds out. And this is not the first time the birds have flown in the door. It was just interesting because there was 2 this time, and that was a first.
Well, Liz, we know from experience with you that you plan all kinds of really neat events at the store. What do you have coming up?
So again, the best questions, because I totally forgot that. That's another way that I've adapted, is I've moved a lot of our events to virtual events. Not as many as I'd like, but also because it has taken me a long time to figure out the different programs to use. And I finally found one that I really like. Coming up, we've been doing Drinks with Authors, which is a little bit like, we call it Drunk History, similar to that. We don't really drink nearly that much at all. It's talking with self-published authors who want to grow their business and work with independent bookstores on ways that they can do that, marketing, and we all just kind of like a big Zoom meeting, but it's televised. It's on Facebook and YouTube Live, so people can comment, ask us questions, not us, because I'm not a writer. I just kind of moderate. And we've added quite a few authors, actually. We had 6 people last, including me. Talk about marketing, social media, the way they write. Like this week's was supposed to be, do you plot, write as you can and see where it takes you, or outline. We're going to reschedule that for next week. We also have our well-read Black Girl Book Club is continuing to meet. We've changed the way that works too, and that's going to be virtual, or some of it is virtual. If the weather continues to stay nice, we may possibly do some porch side things where we sit outside, because we're never more than like 5 people, maybe 6. But again, if we socially distance, that should be okay in the park kind of thing for those who are comfortable, and still do it virtually so we can combine that. We've done some author events, including we did a really fun Choose Your Own Adventure author event. On Tuesday the 19th, we have an event with local author Becky Titleman, who's writing the Wonky Witch series. She is on book 5, and she's going to give up